Hiking Deep, this one's for you guys. Hiking Deep are a channel out of Arkansas, and it's an amazing channel, outdoors, in forest, outside, lots of stuff going on. So when I saw Camo, I thought these might very well be a sneaker that the Hiking Deep guys are absolutely after 100%. But then when also they were black and white, it was like, oh, that's so close. Had they been black and grey, then it would have been sold, a done deal. The black and white is like, maybe they will, maybe they won't, but the Camo for sure is absolutely fire on these guys. Now they are mid, so that means they're a little bit lower down than the highs, but there are some interesting things going on in these guys. The Camo itself isn't what it seems, and then the front, the leather itself isn't what it seems, and then the midfoot isn't what it seems. But maybe that's the point, because Camo isn't what it seems. But we're going to look at that today, because those three parts of the sneaker are not actually what they seem. They seem to be a little bit more simple than they are, and then when you have a little dig deeper and have a look closer at them, you find that there's more detailing going on there. So the Camo, the leathers, and the midfoot, three hidden elements to those parts of the sneaker that we're going to look at today as we dig into the Nike Air Jordan 1 Mid Camo. This is a Talking About a 23 Sneaker channel. Talking About a 23 Sneaker channel. Des, Mainichi Absuno no De, Mainichi Midika Design. Every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. Now, this one that's coming down the line, there isn't a definitive date on when they are going to drop yet, but I definitely had to do this video for my friends over at Hiking Deep, because this, I think, as soon as I saw this, I just thought of those guys straight away, and I think they're going to be like, yeah, want that, fine, yes, done deal, don't need to listen to it anymore, just a guaranteed buy for me. And that's kind of why I decided to do this video a bit earlier in the cycle than I normally would. So there's no drop date on these guys as far as I know yet, but there's sure to be one coming down the line. And when it does come down the line, Hiking Deep are probably going to be out there and definitely checking that out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw up a link to their channel, but when you put up links that go up here, they stay for like 5 seconds and then go away again. But the link actually stays there for the duration. And then at the end of this video, I always throw up one final link, and that brings up the menu of all the other links. So if you're interested in checking out Hiking Deep in Arkansas, outdoorsy, woodlands, in nature, kind of survival stuff as well, definitely worth checking out. So here's a link to their channel. You can check that out right now, or at the end of this video, you'll be able to activate that link one more time and check those guys out. They're definitely worth a watch and a follow. Great guys. So, but without further ado, let's get into the sneaker and have a look at those three parts, which I think have a little bit more to them than meets the eye. So we'll start with the toe box, and we'll work back to the midfoot and then to the Camo on the back and see the three kind of hidden features on there. And hidden feature number one is, if we look at the toe box, it is a black and white toe box. Very, very simple, and I guess they've done that to offset the complicatedness of the Camo on the back half of the sneaker, and they've gone with the two simplest colors that they can think of, which is white for the inlay and black for the wraparound on the toe box. But what's interesting is if you kind of zoom in and have a look at the leathers on there, it seems like they've actually gone with two different leathers. I think it looks like the overlay, the wraparound on the toe box is a smooth, almost maybe even nubuck leather, which has very little feature or detailing to it. It's just a very clean leather. But then when you zoom in and have a look at the whites, you can see the whites have a bit more character, and they're kind of closer to a tumbled leather than a smooth leather. And I don't know if I'm reading that right, or if it's just the way it looks in the particular pictures that I've been looking at. But to me, that's kind of a feature throughout, is that the white stuff looks a bit more kind of dimpled and tumbled, and the black stuff looks a bit smoother and a bit more like nubuck. So point number one in that kind of interesting detailing that maybe people haven't realized is it looks like they've used two different leathers for the white and the black sections of the shoe. But then if we come back a bit to the midfoot, I did say there's something on the midfoot that kind of is hidden in plain view. And to be honest, I'm not a fan, but that's just me. I might be, the only one. But and it's the swoosh. What you've got there is a very, it's a black swoosh, fits in with the rest of the colorway of the sneaker. Ostensibly, it should be a big win, but when you look at it, it's actually patent leather, and I think that's a mistake on these shoes. It goes against the story of the shoe. Camo let's hide, let's be discreet, you know. Nubuck leathers are very soft and they kind of absorb light in a way, so they fit the narrative of this shoe. But patent leather is bright and it's popping and it's shiny, and it doesn't at all go well with camouflage. So I think the patent leather on the side there is a bit of a mistake, to be honest, and they would have been better having a swoosh. The black's fine, but in a different material to sort of tone it down a little bit. But then as we keep going back and come to the signature feature on these guys, is the two places where the camo appears. One is on the heel cup, and then above that on the wings on the side of the ankle. They are separate, and hopefully what you're looking at right now is the heel section. You can see that little bit of separation where the swooshes wrap around the back and you have the camo at the top and then the camo at the bottom separated by that line. But then when you look a little bit closer, it's like, oh, actually I never really appreciated that. Two things to appreciate about the camo. Staying far away for now, it's kind of obvious when I say it, but maybe you didn't realize it, that it is actually faded, and it's kind of white out, or it's like a bit more opaque, that they haven't gone with that solid camo that perhaps they went with for, say, the Camo 10s. There's a review of the Camo 10s right there. That was very popping, kind of in your face camo. But when you have a look at these guys again from afar, it helps you to sort of appreciate that it's almost like a white effect, or if there's some kind of filter over the top of the camo to dull it down and make it sort of whiter or less prominent. So that's point number one. But then if we zoom in and have a closer look at the camo itself, you can see it's kind of a roughed up leather, which goes against what was going on at the front of the sneaker with that smooth kind of nubuck that wraps around the front of the toe box. And it's hard to tell that until you zoom in really close on these guys and have a look at that, and you get to see that the leather is going to have a little bit more to it than just being that coloured camo colorway, but also it's going to have a roughed up effect to it as well, which I think is really, really cool and represents the camo theme or the camo narrative very, very well. So those are the three kind of main elements to this sneaker, where you have to look a little bit deeper than you thought you did to find out more about it. The actual materials that make up the construction of the front half of the sneaker, where it's black and white, looks to be nubuck in black and tumbled leather in white, but I might be wrong on that, and if I am, shoot me a comment down below and let me know. And then as you get towards the midfoot, you've got that patent leather swoosh on there, which kind of goes against the narrative of the sneaker. And finally you get to the back with the actual camo itself, which has been paled out a little bit, filtered out in white, but on that roughed up leather, which definitely brings it back. There are a couple more things to kind of focus in on. If we look at the high end of the sneaker, you can see that even though there's camo on there, they have still imprinted the Wings logo on the side, where the camo wraps around onto the top two eyelets. And then if you go to the front end of the sneaker and have a look at the tongue, black tongue, white square, branding square, and then on that a Jumpman with air underneath it, so to kind of finish off the look. I kind of like these guys. I think they're kind of cool. If it wasn't for that patent leather swoosh on the side, I'd be all over them and absolutely gushing about them, but that patent leather swoosh on the side is a little bit questionable to me, and I wonder about you guys out there if you also have that kind of feeling about them. So but hiking deep, hopefully you guys like them. That's one of the main reasons I chose to do this sneaker, was just purely for you guys out there, and hopefully you'll toss me a comment down below that says, you know, absolutely fire, or you know what, that patent leather swoosh on the side doesn't work with this motif, so it's actually a no for us. But definitely hiking deep, let me know what you're thinking. Now I'm going to throw up two more links to finish up this video, and either of those links will activate the menu of all the other links, so you can go check out one more of my videos. The first one we're going to throw up is the Coronavirus Live. So there's a playlist of Coronavirus Live. I've been going live every morning at 7:30 to talk about how the coronavirus is affecting life here in Tokyo, Japan, and I put all of those lives together in a playlist. So if you're interested in finding out what it's like here in Tokyo, Japan under the conditions of this coronavirus, definitely check out that, where we talk about the reality of living in Japan, not the hype or the spin or the conspiracy theories or the propaganda or any media element to it or governmental element to it, just a guy talking to the camera about the reality of life here in Tokyo, Japan. And then the final link that I'm going to throw up, which will, like I said, will bring up the menu of all the other links, is to that amazing playlist that we talk about every single video from Shoe Butter. He sends us rare sneakers in hand as often as he possibly can. Yesterday I was apologizing for the fact that the coronavirus has stopped that from happening as much as we'd like to recently, but we'll get that going again. But in the meantime, there's that playlist full of the rarest sneakers in the world, player exclusives, one-of-ones, samples, prototypes, all that kind of stuff. So I'll throw up a link to that playlist right here, doing, and checking out that will bring up all the other links that I've thrown up already, and you can check out any one of those. But for now, it's time for me to sign off. Thank you guys for checking out my content. But because I do this every single day, that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.